Hey guys, it's me, Unicorn Conspiracy. We're back with Seduce Me Though to Me. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but back for part 2. I'm really excited. Been looking forward to playing this. So let's get in. Let's get in and play. So me and the gang, we're just making our poster. Finish. As we ended our name game, a giggle scrambled my thoughts. Lisette? I don't know, she sounds like a bitch. Huh? Who was that?
Ignore it. It's just Lisette.
I looked over my shoulder to see her laughing with her circle of friends, mostly comprised of popular people that were practically friends with everyone in the school. Except me. Oh my gosh. And as a result, everyone in the school knew them. In the center of it all was Lisette White. Ooh, her name is... Ooh. She sat with a posture that indicated she was still working, but that she also was ready to casually chat about her day. She had an endearing balance of charismatic and awkward, which was readily apparent when she first talked to someone. That's weird, especially for a popular girl. It was easy to make her smile and laugh, and she was quite the comedian as well. Basically, she was perfect. Not that she was like a robot or something, but she was the student that everyone else wanted to be. Lisette was bright, easygoing, and above all, had her future laid out right in front of her. Isn't my grandfather like the head of some toy place? Seems like I've got a pretty good future. Unlike the average student, she knew what she wanted to do after high school, and as a result, she was confident and ambitious, though sometimes it could rub a lot of people the wrong way. Moreover, I had known her ever since I was young, but it had ultimately resulted in a rivalry that continued today. That's right, Lisette. Coming for you. Of course, my friends knew what was between us, and upon seeing me glance at her, they shifted their attention to her.
She doesn't even look like she's working.
That's right, Naomi.
She probably is, but she's too much of a stuck-up priss to allow herself to look like she's actually doing work.
Lisette doesn't want to get her hands dirty.
Oh, come on, Suzu. She may be a little off-putting, but she's not the giant priss that you're making her seem to be.
The day she isn't a priss is the day I turn into you.
What's that supposed to mean?
You two are like the polar opposites, guys. Come on.
Never mind. It's about time. Let's bail.
Ooh, she's fast. Unsurprisingly, Susie was the first out of the classroom, slinging her backpack over her shoulder with ease as she quickly strolled out the door.
Her seat isn't even closest to the exit, and she always manages to be the first one out of the door. I don't think I'll ever understand that.
Oh crap, I forgot what she said. Me and you both, Naomi. She gave me a smile, as if relieved by the fact that I felt the same way as she did. I mean, I chose Suzu's name for our company, so since I can't actually remember what we were talking about, I feel like I should just, be a good friend and agree with Naomi.
See? Why can't she just be normal like the two of us?
Yeah, Naomi, Suzu's so weird. It's Suzu, Naomi. Think about it.
Very true.
Man, you guys are slow. Are you coming or what?
We heard you the first time. Not everyone has rocket boosters attached to their legs when the bell rings.
Are you kidding me? That class was ridiculously boring. Even Miss Valedictorian here was dozing off a bit.
Am I Miss Valedictorian? I do have to admit I was spacing out. And just because I answered one question doesn't mean I'm automatically the valedictorian. The valedictorian.
Okay, so it wasn't too interesting. But you should at least pay attention when Phillips is talking about the important parts.
It's probably smart.
So you finally admit it. We're finally on the same wavelength. Welcome to the club, Patterson.
Please, don't call me by my last name. This isn't the classroom. And never in a million years will we ever see things eye to eye.
It's weird how they're like best friends, but also disagree about everything. Despite this, they burst out into laughter. Normally, anyone would think that opposites like them wouldn't ever associate with each other, but even though they were so different, their friendship somehow made a lot of sense. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personality just didn't dictate the possibility of their friendship. After all, we three had been best friends since preschool.
Alright, so where are we heading to first? Cafeteria? I think we can all agree that we're really hungry, especially after hearing about our company's line of deliciously spicy bubblegum.
Who would even buy that?
I would buy that, Naomi.
Me?
Yeah.
I would pay good money to get
Me and Suzu. Ha! like spicy food after all. Nice cafeteria. We entered the cafeteria, a bustling room filled with the aromas of different kinds of food. As we got in line, we ordered our meals and chatted freely.
Cajun fries and a spicy chicken burger for me. That's my
It's
dinner.
nice food for a cafeteria.
I'll take a tuna sandwich and some juice. You're probably going to need water or something to curb all that spicy flavor, Suzu.
I can't be tamed by the likes of that. If it's spicy, then it's gotta be all or nothing.
She reminds me of Rainbow Dash.
You're crazy.
Hell yeah, I'm crazy.
I think I'm getting a migraine.
I think I'll go with... Ooh. I was gonna go with a spicy chicken burger because that sounds way better than tuna sandwich, but they have mac and cheese. The best. Once we got our food, we settled down at one of the empty tables, putting our backpacks aside to finally dig into the food. Suzu leaned back in her chair, tilting it back so that she could rest her feet on the table by her food. I think I'm the most like Suzu so far.
All right then. Is there anything we want to talk about?
Oh, what is this, a meeting?
Bored already?
I know. Let's talk about...
Say boys and I will never speak to you ever again.
Aw, why not?
What's so interesting about talking about guys? Not like any of us are gonna get boyfriends.
Preach it, Suzu.
We don't know that. What if one of us does get a
Then
boyfriend?
we will exercise her.
Like that's going to happen, Naomi. Look at us. I'm a tiny Italian. You're a ditzy blonde.
Hey!
No offense. And Anderson here. Well, I guess she could land a boyfriend or girlfriend if she
Oh,
wants.
thanks, Suzu.
Or girlfriend?
She can be a lesbian if
Thanks,
she wants.
Suzu.
True.
Thanks, Naomi. It's okay, Suzu. I'm not sure I want a boyfriend yet.
Why not? It's our senior year. Might as well get a boyfriend.
Wait, I thought you were against getting a boyfriend.
Maybe she's just not interested in a relationship, Suzu.
Y'all are... Well... It really wasn't about wanting a relationship, but more of there was no one interested enough to be in a relationship. Anyway, I agree. Don't get me wrong, I'm an open person, but there were not many interesting guys in the school to go out with. Preach it, sister. Who knows? Time will tell. Naomi looked at me, wanting to continue the conversation. However, before she could speak, the speakers in the cafe started up and announced... excuse me, it's my French coming out. An announcement echoed through the cafeteria.
Miss Anderson, please come to the main office
Is that me?
immediately. Please bring your things with you.
What did I do?
Oh my.
Looks like our plans have been cut short. The men in white coats have finally come to get you.
Very funny, Suzu.
Suzu, don't joke around. What if it's serious?
Oh, she has a little bow tie on her belt. That's cute.
Fine. If something happens, just call us.
Gotcha, girl. Funny enough, something did happen. What? And it was certainly no laughing matter. Cold. It was really cold. The rain became heavier that afternoon, accompanied by rolling thunder now and then. The skies had turned dark, and though I couldn't see any of it under the black umbrella. Not that I was looking up. In fact, looking up was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. I stared at the grass beneath my feet, unable to look up at the people weeping around me. All I could see was the damp grass underneath my feet. Did someone die? Did my parents die? One of the monotone eulogies that floated through my ears reminded me that I was at a funeral. It was only when the speeches ended that I finally was able to raise my head. Was that my dad? A small gathering of people, mostly made of relatives that I didn't even know were related to me, were huddled around a simple, small grave. For a while, all I heard was the sound of raindrops on umbrellas. If it weren't raining, oh crap. I keep looking accidentally. I looked beside me where my father was standing and holding up a large black umbrella for our small family of 3. Was that like my little brother or something? His face was emotionless, a strange sight next to my weeping mother. I wondered what was going through his mind. After all, etched into the smooth gray tombstone before us was his father's name. Wait, so it's my grandfather. My grandfather, the one who raised me like his own daughter, had passed away that day. The ceremony was small, only close family were allowed to come. Slowly, though, people began to leave, leaving my father, mother, and me behind at the grave. A man dressed in a clean black suit under the uniform black umbrella of the funeral attendees walked toward us, introducing himself as grandfather's lawyer. He pulled out a few documents from his suitcase and began to read aloud its contents. Okay, first of all, you don't typically do that at a funeral, and second of all, it's raining. These documents are going to get wet, which means my my fortune that my great-grandfather left me, not my my really good grandfather, that's what I meant. That stuff he left me is gonna get damaged. I mean, come on.
And now, I shall read Harold Anderson's last will
Oh,
and
creepy.
testament.
Only my parents and I were allowed to be present for my grandfather's will. It was under the strict request of his lawyer, and there was a reason why.
And to my dearest granddaughter, I give my estate. All the furniture and decor that resides within the house shall also be given to my
Oh,
granddaughter.
thanks. What? I couldn't believe my ears. I had earned the family estate at 18? That was impossible, and yet it was written by my own grandfather's hand.
He passed the family estate to her? Why
My
am I
dad
not
looks like kind of a
surprised?
jerk.
Dear.
Well, did he say anything about what will become of the CEO and chairman position of the Anderson Toys
My
Company?
dad just wants to be in charge.
No. It is presumed that the vice chairman will succeed the position.
Even to the bitter end, he wouldn't give in. What a stubborn
Oh, come on,
old
have some
man.
respect. Shaking his head, my father turned to face my mother with a serious expression on his face.
About the estate. Should we send her there to get used to the building? It'll be a good place for her to live after high school.
You're talking about sending me away?
Are you sure we should?
Why not? This would be a good experience for her.
Honey, what do you think?
I really wasn't sure what to say. Why did my grandfather think that I was the appropriate heir to the mansion? Was I even ready to live on my own? Hardly. Where am I going to get money from to keep this place up?
Well, that seems to be it. We'll be taking our leave now. I'm sure the little heiress needs some time
Dad?
to adjust.
David!
Even though she raised her voice, my dad wordlessly began walking back to the car, disinterested. Jerk.
Don't mind him, honey. I think that your grandfather's passing really affected him. Why don't we get back home for now?
You can go on ahead to the car, Mom. I think I need some time alone with Grandpa.
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need.
She gave me a quick hug and hurried after my dad. I looked around the funeral grounds, which was completely empty, save for the sullen-looking grave that was laid in front of me. I'm sure that if Grandpa were in charge of arranging all of this, it would have been much different. It was blatantly obvious that my dad was in charge of the whole event. Who else would bury their own family the same day they pass away? Yeah, you can't actually do that. It takes time to do these things. Everyone knew my grandfather's love for toys, and yet the grave was a mere stone slab on the ground, void of any children's toys. My dad didn't even bother putting flowers. Now that's cold. His disdain for my grandfather was almost pitiful. Sorry, Grandpa. I tried to force out some words, but the only thing that came out was a choked sob. You told me to stay strong, but right now, I'm the furthest from it. Like that one time, a long time ago. Ooh, flashback. Grandpa!
Oh, it's so good to see you
Aw, he
again,
looks like a
sweetie.
nice man, not like my dad. I was swept into a giant bear hug, and we both laughed as he swung me around like an airplane. That's one of my favorite things about seeing my grandfather, the way he greeted me. Unlike my father, my grandfather was loving and playful, even as I grew older. Sorry that Daddy couldn't be here today. He said he wasn't feeling too good again. It had always been like that. Dad missed every visit to Grandpa's house, citing that he was busy with work or wasn't feeling well.
Is that so? Well, that's okay. Daddy can come around next time. And you're here, right?
Totes, Grandpa. Yeah. So what are we doing today, Grandpa? Mommy says there's a new dessert cafe open in town. Maybe we should go.
Oh, I would love to. But I've been so busy with the company these days. We're actually working on a little something. Would you
Totes,
like to see?
Ooh, is that a toy?
It is. I was designing a new line of them. But I feel like something's missing. You don't think you could help me out,
Totes,
could you?
Grandpa. Of course. He placed the toy in my hands with a smile, and I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted, and obviously a lot of work was put into it. There was one thing, though.
So, what do you think?
I think the heart on its chest should light up when you hug it. It'll be like it's alive, and it can be a little nightlight before you sleep. He stroked his chin, considering my input while nodding his head. After a few moments of silent deliberation, he turned to me with a chuckle. That's a good idea I just had, BT dubs. I'm intelligent.
That's a great idea. I'll get to changing it right away. You're always like my little lucky charm, dear. You always know what to add to make the perfect
Why
toy.
does my dad think that my granddad would leave everything to him when he treats him so terribly? And why would he become CEO of a toy company when he has no care for toys? Why does he think he's entitled to that? What a jerk. Well, I hope I can be like you one day, Grandpa.
You want to make toys as
Heck
well?
yeah. Making people happy is the best feeling in the world. I don't know if I want to make toys when I grow up, though.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy.
That is
as
freaking
well.
good advice for everyone. About everything. That makes sense. Daddy doesn't think of it the same way, though.
Your father. I'm sure he just wants
He
the
wants
best
what's
for
the
you.
best for him. I'm not so sure about that.
Sweetie, look at me.
He bent down to look at me eye level with a serious look on his face.
As much as your father may say something that doesn't make sense now, you must remember that he's always thinking about you. He loves you. There's no doubt about that. And you need to love him just as
This
equally.
is a very nice man. I wish I had someone like him in my life. No joke. I don't hate Daddy. I really do love him. I don't know why he's like this, though.
Your father and I have had some difficulties with each other in the past. But it's nothing that
I feel
you
like I should be concerned about it if it's making there be difficulties between me and him. Like, he's my dad. It's my concern. I had heard tidbits of this from my mother and various other people. The only people who had stayed quiet were my father and grandfather. Both of them refrained from saying a word on the subject matter, but it was clear that whatever happened set up a wall between them. Duh. It's hard, though, trying to pretend as if nothing were wrong.
However, no matter what, you have to stay strong. You're a big girl already, and, well, there'll come a day when it seems like it's you against the world. But always remember that your family and friends will be here
This
with
game
you.
is deep, man. I kind of needed this advice anyway. Although probably terrible things will happen soon, so we'll see.
Daddy, Mommy, your friends at school, me, we'll stand together to get
That's
through it.
right, Grandpa. How can you be so sure of that?
Because we'll be right here and here.
He pointed his finger to my head first, and then pointed at my chest. A sweet guy.
So stay strong.
I promise, Grandpa.
Promise?
For a moment he looked almost sad, pleading, but as quickly as it had come, the expression disappeared from his face, and he was all smiles once again. Promise. Upon hearing that, Grandpa let out a burst of laughter and stood up.
All right then. Enough of that. How about I whip up some special homemade dessert? I know it can't accompany you at that new cafe, but we sure can talk and eat while I cook and do some paperwork.
You have time to cook, but you don't have time to go to a cafe? I mean, not that I don't want your homemade goodies. That sounds way better than a cafe, but it strikes me as odd. Homemade dessert? I'll race you to the kitchen.
Hey, slow down there. I'm not what I used to be.
You willed me the very home I loved to see you in. Why? Why would you think I would be ready to take it, especially after this? A surge of anger bubbled within me, but I quickly swallowed it. There was no use in getting mad, especially when the person in question was no longer there. I'm sorry. It's hard to stay calm when you left me with so many questions, especially about what happened between you and Dad. What am I doing? Talking to a grave. My vision blurred and suddenly realized that I was crying. My face heated up as tears rolled down my cheeks. I'll bring you some flowers later. I miss you, Grandpa. I'll try my best to fulfill my promise I gave to you, even if the world might be turned against me. I left the grave, wiping my tears hastily so my parents wouldn't see.
Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get home, okay?
Thanks, Mom. However, my dad didn't speak the entire drive home. I wanted to talk to him, but after his moment at the funeral, I wasn't sure if it was a good idea.
It's about time we took off those dreary black clothes.
I get the feeling you're always dressed in black, you daddykins. Gathering my courage, I decided then that it was time to talk. Dad, can I ask you something?
Go
You
ahead.
sound so insolent.
Right after you graduate from high school, you'll just live there and can easily commute to and from school. It's a perfect
I mean,
fit
that
for
does
you.
sound nice, but the business part, not so nice. I mean, if I were given the opportunity, I would totally live in a mansion next to my school and just go to school and live by myself in a freaking mansion. That would be freaking amazing. But not for business. But it's so sudden. You just decided so quickly right after the funeral.
Don't be so sensitive. If you're like that in the real world, you'll be crushed.
Like you, Daddykins. I'm just saying that maybe we could talk a bit more about my future. In reply, my father rubbed his temples and sighed quietly. Am I giving you a headache, Daddykins?
After you graduate from college, you'll work at Anderson Family Toys. I have connections since I am part of the board of directors, so you will be guaranteed a spot. That is what we talked about before,
I think that's
yes?
what you talked about, Daddykins. But what if...
Stop mumbling.
Stop shouting. What if I don't want to work there?
Don't be silly. It's the family company. Our company. I'm not just going to hand it over to some incompetent vice chairman.
Okay. He came closer to me and his face softened.
Look, this is all for the best, okay? You may not know it right now, but you will appreciate it later.
For some reason, when I heard him say that, something snapped in me. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but it made me feel so angry. Do you even care that Grandfather passed away?
Of course I
Don't
do.
seem like it. Well, everything seems fine and dandy to you. Things couldn't be better.
Excuse me? I don't like your tone,
Yeah,
young
because
lady.
your tone is so nice. It's like nothing even happened at all. Like you just ignored the fact that he's no longer here.
Do not raise your voice at me.
What did he ever do to you to deserve this? My father, his face hardened across his arms and erupted in angry laughter.
Ha! You sure place him upon a pedestal. Like he's some kind of venerated god or something. It makes me
Am I gonna learn some deep dark secret about my grandpa? Is that it? Are you happy seeing grandfather dead? While everyone was grieving, were you holding yourself back from laughing in everyone's faces? Did you feel just a bit happier seeing him lie in the graveyard? A flash of rage crossed his face and he whipped the back of his hand across my cheek. That is not okay.
You don't know anything! Running your mouth like somehow you know everything that went on, when you're just a little girl that doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut! You did not know my father. You did not know what he was capable of.
Know what you're capable of.
Is everything all right? What happened?
Nothing. I'm not hungry. I think I'll just go upstairs.
Honey, wait!
I'm gonna need a drink. Hold on. I quickly turned and ran up the stairs to my room, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in short pants, and for a while I just leaned against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it. How did things become like this? My cheek still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked at the mirror to see how it looked. Hopefully it doesn't bruise. What am I saying? Tears formed in the corners of my eyes, but I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry for the second time today. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you alright? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your
Does
father.
that mean he's hit me before? I'm fine. I just lost my appetite.
The lasagna's done, though. And I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me, Mom. I'll come downstairs later to eat.
I'm not telling you the whole story.
I just don't want to eat right now.
Please, dear. Tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like
Why
this.
I'm being like this? My grandfather just died. I wanted to tell her. A part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well, I'll leave your food on the table if you want to eat it later.
Thanks, Mom. Finally, my mom left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only a few inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything, to get my mind off of what just happened. Anything would be better than thinking of any more about the pain still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack my stuff so I would be prepared for tomorrow. Isn't high school not over yet? Yeah, that was a good idea. I should start packing. I opened the closet, rummaging around for a while before I finally found 2 large bags. Pulling them out onto the floor of my room, I then began to empty my drawers and cabinets so that I could bring all my things with me. I didn't have much to bring other than just clothes and some toiletries. It was kind of bizarre that I didn't have that many personal belongings. It wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to rid myself of those thoughts. If it were going to be my new home, it would have to feel like it. One way or another, I was going to make it a home. Just as I was packing my things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slid my phone out of my pocket and answered it while slowly easing myself onto my bed. Who could possibly be calling? Probably one of my best friends.
Hey Anderson, you there? Is everything alright? We were worried about you, so we decided to call.
My friends.
Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called. My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whisper.
What happened? Are you okay?
Well, I slowly began to tell about the funeral that happened that afternoon. A small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened, and to my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm sorry. Do you want us to come over right
Good
now?
friends right there. No, it's okay. My dad isn't in a good mood, so could we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course! We stay on the phone until the crack of dawn. Right, Suzu? Yeah. We're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Haha, yeah.
Triple threat trio? That sounds like the name of
We
a
are a
gang.
gang, Naomi.
Yeah. I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously. What's with you and naming things? You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Falling behind with the cool kids like Anderson and me.
It's kind of true. Suzu's pretty good at coming up with names.
Hey! I'm a cool kid. If anything, I'd say you'd have to step up your game.
We chatted cheerfully about all sorts of things. Very soon I had forgotten about the events that day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favorite TV show. Some program called Herlock. Clever, guys, clever. We all agreed the actor playing the titular character certainly had a very distinctive look about him with that long overcoat and scarf wrapped around his neck. Wow. We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character. Haha, yeah, he has really high cheekbones and his eyes are pretty, though I'd have to say I prefer Jatson, and as a bonus, his actor is just so sassy. Oh my gosh. I looked at the clock hanging on the wall and realized how late it was. Whoa, it's already 1 a.m. Sorry for keeping you guys up so late. I think I'm gonna hit the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. I should probably shower and go to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. Just, come on, girl. But it was really nice. Well, to the bathroom I go. I took a relaxing shower. Nothing beat hot water and the feel of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed. Ah, nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed. It had been a really long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today. And I have to go back to school tomorrow. Ugh. I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped the blankets around me. I really wasn't in the mood for it to be returning to school, but my dad probably would make me go just for the sake of it. Time to go to sleep. I reached out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. Ew. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night. It's already time to wake up? Wait, school. As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror. That's a relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice it unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard of the news. I was approached in school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell,
Yep.
man! Quit being so sensitive, Naomi.
Quit being so vulgar,
It's
Suzu.
hardly vulgar. Suzu's right, Naomi.
Of course you would side
What?
with her.
Ha! See? At least she knows how to
This is
have
about my feelings, guys.
I know how to have fun. You don't need to be wild to
Okay,
have
you're right
fun.
with that. Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to
Probably
be
not.
okay?
Of course, ha 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 ha. But even in the comfort of my best friends, life seemed to keep testing me. Oh,
Hey! Don't go
did
around
someone
shoving
just
people like
punch
that.
me?
Whoops. Did I strike a nerve,
Lisette
Katini?
looks like a weirdo. She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lisette, one of the last people I wanted to see today.
It's not me you should be apologizing to.
Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
I'm alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette?
Of what?
Her grandfather's passing.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news.
It doesn't really sound like you mean it.
I do mean it. Earnestly.
'Cause
Why
you're a
wouldn't
bitch.
I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right
Who's
this
this
moment.
rude girl? I had nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lisette, which was mostly comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. No one had the slightest idea what exactly they followed Lisette around persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an
Thanks,
honest
Naomi.
family.
Says the one whose family profits from political
What?
scandals.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty
Whoa, now.
politicians.
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, alright? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some
I don't
respect.
know if I trust you. Just stop. Stop acting like that already. Like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Bitterness seeped into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lisette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lisette. I'm sick of all these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. Oh, 'cause those other people weren't saying mean things? Jeez. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lisette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face that I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes. Don't pity me. No, don't you dare pity me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile, as if for old time's sake. But for some reason, I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contorted into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you
I'm
later.
creeped out. Something about Lisette made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I had never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends behind her. I focused my attention on Mrs. Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right,
Totes my
girls?
goats.
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
Tell you're really heartbroken. What's up with your sweater? That's odd. Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know, he was amazing. I really looked up to him and wanted to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as
Thanks,
your
Naomi.
grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her
Thanks,
grandfather.
Suzu. Would I? Would I really be better than my grandfather? Even everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a familiar blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. I don't want to see him ever again. My ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Okay, I'm gonna have to end this episode here. I really want to play more. I really want to see what else happens. I feel like it's going so slowly. It's a visual novel, not just a dating simulation. I have to be patient. I'm interested in the story. I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it. I wish I could play more at a time, but it is getting rather late. I need to go to bed. I should probably have done something productive today, but I didn't. Don't eat the rice. Have some pizza instead, because that's what I had for dinner. As always, all my love to you guys. All of Palmer's love too. And I'll see you guys later.